Yes, gang, how are we doing? Welcome back to another YouTube video. So we are currently en route to Loughborough on the M1 as we're going down to Reese Pearson's gym, the Physique Club, I believe it's called, because we've got a team content shoot happening today. So down there to shoot some content. Not the most convenient time of the week because it's on a fucking Tuesday, midday. So I had to scramble to get all my check-ins done this morning and head out the door literally immediately after I ate my pre-workout so that I can get here nice and early, train arms, and then do the content shoot. So thankfully I'm on the second slot as we're in batches, right? There's two slots of us doing it. So I can actually get down early, I can train maybe at like 11 o'clock-ish, get a nice arm pump, and then I can record some content. So that's what we're at for today, guys. Nice to get out of the house, go and train in another gym. I did actually want to go down and train in Reese's gym anyway because it looks pretty sick. So this is the perfect excuse to go down and train, right? And it's literally just past Derby, so I'm used to driving down the M1 to Derby anyway, as I've been down there a couple of times, so it's not too far away from there at all. So pretty much of a muchness, right? Now, how have I been feeling both mentally and physically since the last vlog? I think mentally a lot of people are starting to get a little bit concerned about me. I have people reaching out being like, are you all right? Like, you seem very stressed, like blah blah, all this stuff. Guys, I'm fine, okay? All of this stress that I'm dealing with, a lot of it is self-inflicted, and it's just normal fucking stress at the end of the day. It's just normal life stress. People go through stress, and honestly, it's not that fucking big of a deal. Like, I hate to make a fuss about anything, and I hate to make a big deal about anything, because let's be real here, guys. Men used to go to war. So my first world problems and things I'm stressed about and things I'm worried about in the grand fucking scheme of things are pretty fucking ridiculous, okay? So you don't have to be concerned with me. I'm fine. I'm just being a drama queen. It is what it is. I'll be grand. Things will sort themselves out. I think we all just naturally go through these periods where there's highs and there's lows, right? There's peaks and there's troughs. Sometimes everything is clicking, everything feels amazing, everything is going amazing. And then other times, even when you've got nothing to be stressed about per se, you kind of just feel a little bit stressed, or you kind of just feel a little bit down, or you kind of feel a little bit anxious. And I think coming off of such a big high from the first couple of months of the year and all the success I had competing and how well everything was going for me, I feel like coming off the back of that high, I just had a bit of a low. Like, the higher the high, the lower the low, you know? And I'm fine now again, and I know things will kind of come back around. But yeah, last couple of weeks, I just feel like just kind of haven't really been enjoying things as much. Things haven't really been as clicking as well. And then when I kind of started to feel a little bit meh physically, that kind of makes you feel a little bit worse mentally, right? And then you're just like, obviously expressing all of these things, and I am quite open/transparent on this channel. But I don't mean for it to be taken the wrong way, right? I don't mean for people to be like, someone left a comment on my last video being like, have you ever thought of therapy or gone to therapy? And I was like, oh, fucking hell. I was like, am I coming across that fucking badly in my videos that people are like, you should go to therapy, bro? I'm like, I need to fucking sort myself out here. So yeah, right. I'm gonna have a conversation, and it'll be like one of the topics of this video. And it's to do with a lot of the stuff that I have been stressed about, right? And I feel like a lot of it is, again, through my own design, right? I stress because of the expectations I put on myself, the standards I hold myself to, maybe the perceived standards that I believe other people have of me as well, right? Both Kuba as my coach, my bodybuilding coach in my bodybuilding journey, but also documenting absolutely fucking everything on YouTube and being as honest as I feel like I am, right? People have a perceived image of you. People have a perception of what you're like and what your like personal brand is, or what your image is, or whatever, right? And obviously I'm very, I would say, all in with nearly everything that I do, all right? Like, especially when it comes to bodybuilding, I'm like, it's 100% or nothing. If you're not doing this, you're a fucking part-timer, right? You have to be giving it your everything, boom, 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 boom. And you know, people obviously see that and they might draw inspiration from that. And that's just like who you are and what you do, right? And then it's like, if you take a step back from that for a single second, it's like, oh, you're not being true to yourself, or you're being a failure, or you're a fraud, or like, what are people going to think of you, etc., right? And that's kind of where I've been at a little bit, because for me, to now progress in the way that I need to progress over the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months, I need to operate at 95%, guys. And I'm going to be completely honest with you and say that. And this is a conversation I had with Kuba. This is a conversation I had with him over the phone once I got back from that wedding, that friend's wedding that I have, if you remember that, guys, in a recent video. And I remember being like very visibly upset almost and frustrated and stressed out after that weekend because everything had been so perfect post-show up until that point. And then I felt like because I went and enjoyed some food at my friend's fucking wedding that I was like the biggest failure in the world, right? And I wasn't being true to, the talk that I talk. I wasn't walking the walk based off the talk that I talk. And, I was a shit bodybuilder because I just fucking took a step back and enjoyed myself for a day, which is just a completely warped mindset to have, right? So, I get myself trapped in these pathological kind of ways of thinking where I'm like, if it's not 100%, then it's 0%. And if I'm not 100%, then I'm absolutely nothing, right? Or I'm not progressing, or I'm not doing everything I should be to progress, etc., etc. So obviously, guys, that can burn you out, all right? And looking at my prep, looking at my off season before my prep, and looking at the mini cut before that, I was locked the fuck in, okay? I was 100% on it. I'd say I could count on 1.5 hands how many off-plan fucking meals I had in that year and a half time frame, okay? Like, I was so dialed in with everything, but I wanted to be, and I could be, right? I was so locked in on my goal, I was so driven, and it was not that it was easy for me to do that, but like, it wasn't mentally very challenging for me to do that, because that's just how I operate, and that's just how I work, right? But staying at that level for such a long period of time, and being so 100% dialed in for such a long period of time, it does take its toll on you, right? And obviously during prep, it wasn't just the bodybuilding I was dialed in on. It was the content, it was the daily vlogs, it was growing my coaching business. Everything was moving at 100 miles per hour. And I would get up in the morning and I would start working and I would go to bed at night and there would not be any dead space in between, okay? Like, my days were just boom, 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 boom. And, after doing that for months and months and months, right, you kind of do need a little bit of a mental break, guys. And as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not fucking indestructible. And I thought I was, because I'm a hardcore, and fucking nobody cares, work harder, bro, and etc., etc. This is the mindset that you get yourself into, right? And it's obviously taken me a long time to build up to the position where I can be like that adherent, that I can work that hard, that I can take on that much and kind of like stay afloat. But, eventually you kind of cross that red line, or eventually you kind of come to that breaking point. And I feel like the breaking point for me was I had such a successful year, such a successful season, and then I got post-show and I continued to punish myself. I continued to just be like, no, I can't have a single off-plan meal. No, I can't take a step back. No, I can't, whatever. And it wasn't the not having the off-plan meal that killed me. It was mentally telling myself that I couldn't. That killed me. And that kind of burnt me out, if that makes sense, right? So I was like, I need to keep up with the content. I need to keep up with this. I need to lock in with that. And then if like I ever felt like I did take a step back, it was like, failure. Like if I had an off-plan meal, it was like, I shouldn't have done that, or whatever. So like, I seen such success and I didn't even take a step back to enjoy that. Do you get me? It's kind of fucked up, and I think back to my last competition season in 2023. And I remember after that season, as I've spoken about on this channel before, I was a little bit disappointed, okay? I thought I had made more progress in that off season. I thought I was going to win a couple of classes that year, and that didn't come to fruition. And I remember having not a bad taste in my mouth in terms of bodybuilding, but I remember thinking, fucking hell, all that effort, all that sacrifice, being so dialed in, saying no to so many things, being, more locked in than everybody else around me, which I 100% was. I was like, what the fuck was that all for? I was like, I need to take a step back from this. I need a break, right? And when me and Chloe moved away from Manchester, we moved home for a month. I was with my family, enjoyed some downtime, enjoyed some meals. We moved back over to Rotherham. We moved into a new house. It was all chaos for a while. Again, enjoyed a couple of meals. And I had a little bit more of a lax approach, right? I probably had too many off-plan meals and got a little bit too soft in that push-up and in that off-season. But did that contribute to the progress that I made that allowed me to win that overall this year? Of course it fucking did, right? And taking that step back at that time actually allowed me to take such a massive step forward, because after a couple of months of being, and here's the funny thing, right? A step back for me still is like, would be 100% for another person. You get me? Like what my step back is like, is still like ticking every single fucking box that I need to tick, but maybe just having like just tiny little bits more flexibility in areas. You know, like maybe just having more off-plan meals or whatever. You get me? Like not having like such a serious do or die approach to absolutely everything, because people probably think I'm fucking insane, right? So taking that step back at that time, once I did that for a couple of weeks, I was like, ugh, right, I kind of feel like shit now. I'm kind of over it. Let's lock the fuck back in. And that literally gave me like a year and a half of runway for progression of being locked in and dialed in. Does that make sense? So I feel like now, again, I've gotten into the position where I kind of knew myself I needed a step back. Like once I got a couple of weeks post-show, I kind of knew, okay, you need to stop treating everything so seriously. You need to just fucking be like, if you want a burger, go and eat a burger sort of a thing, and not just like try and have everything so perfect all the time. Because it's paralysis by over-analysis. You know the way these days people over-analyze their training and they're like, oh, the single arm pull down, you have to do this, and the biomechanics and this and that. And then there's dudes who just enjoy it and they go in and train hard and they make more progress, right? I feel I'm like that, but not from a training perspective, from like a routine and diet perspective. I get so focused on being so optimal and so dialed in that it actually causes me more harm than good. And I started to realize this because, like, you know, I was like trying to stay so on it post-show, and then I was like, my body weight was still going up super quickly. Yeah, I was still making tons of progress in the gym, but I started getting annoyed about my body weight because I'd see guys who are eating fucking Turkish kebabs and donuts and everything else at the weekend, and like their body weight was going up less than mine, and I was like, what am I doing wrong here, you know? So like all these people were enjoying themselves a lot more, had a lot more balance, seemed to be having a great time, and I'm over here fucking miserable, and there's no difference between the two of us. You get me? So I just needed to take a bit of a fucking wake-up call, to be honest. And like I spoke with Kuba about this, and I think another one of the big things that was causing me a lot of stress, right, was that, look, I look up to Kuba a lot, okay? Kuba's coached me for a long time. He's not only my coach, but he's my mentor, right, in a lot of areas. For bodybuilding, for business, for how he operates in many different ways. I've taken a lot from him, a lot of knowledge, a lot of inspiration, and I try to emulate him as much as possible, but I forget that, like, you know, he's been competing for like fucking 11 or 12 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've just done my third season, and he's a professional bodybuilder, I'm not. You know what I mean? And it's like, he's made all those mistakes years ago, and I've probably had a better third season than he had. You know, so I try and almost like have very high expectations for myself, yes, but I always feel like I need to be like living up to his standard or his expectations, or I need to be as on it as he is all the time, otherwise he's not going to think as much of me as a bodybuilder and the way I think in my head as a person, right? But that's just completely incorrect, because I had this conversation when we were on the phone yesterday, and it was just like, this is where I'm at, mate. Look, I can't be 100% at the moment. I can't be fully optimal. I need to take a step back. I need to be 95%. My mom is 60 at the end of the month, and I've got a holiday in Turkey a month after. I need to not fucking think about macros or macro matching or sitting at my spreadsheet for 20 minutes trying to guesstimate every calorie to perfection to managing this off-plan meal. I need to just fucking eat it and just get back on track the next day, because the amount of stress I'm putting myself under trying to be perfect is genuinely, it's been keeping me up at night, guys. It's been keeping me up at night. I'll eat meal number one and I'll go for my walk and I'll be thinking about all this stuff, and it's just living rent free in my head, and it's not really healthy, is it? But it's easy to get sucked into, guys, when you're bodybuilding and you're trying to be the best, and you're trying to be the best you can be, and you're trying to be perfect, and you're trying to turn pro. You want to optimize everything, but sometimes the most optimal thing is to not be optimal, because I know for me, keeping my stress low is the most important thing that I can do for my progression. And I think Kuba knows that, And obviously we've both understood that. And when I was on the phone to him yesterday, he said a lot of things that I really didn't expect him to say. But I had my expectations about what I thought he was going to think, and they just turned out not to be true. And he just really, really stressed that to me. And he was like, I don't have these expectations of you, and I don't think you're less of a person if you want to fucking go out with Chloe and have a meal every single weekend, etc., etc., you know? And let me just be straight, guys. Like, it's not just about, like, the food, right? It's not about food. It's not like I just want to be eating like a pig all the time. That's not the case. But it's just like this obsession with having everything dialed in and being perfect. And I think, you know, I need to now have a period where I am a little bit more relaxed, because it's ultimately going to help me so much more with my progression. And I kind of know that, you know, because enjoyment is so important, guys. And I've just been miserable the last couple of weeks because I've been stressing about things that ultimately I actually didn't need to stress about. And here's the thing, right? Am I saying that it was wrong for me to be so dialed in and be so optimal? No. I'm just saying I need a little bit of a break from that for a while, because I'll still hold my hands up and say, right, I know when you have less off-plan meals, you make more progress, okay? When you are more dialed in with all your variables, you make more progress. If you really want to make progress, you need to dial things the fuck in, and you need to not be so lax with everything. But me saying I'm taking a step back and being relaxed is, again, still more dialed in than fucking 99.9% of you watching this video. You get me? So, like, you know, I'm really going off on a tangent here now, but you get what I'm trying to say, all right? And that now is just what I need to do for the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months in order for me to just basically not lose my fucking marbles, to be honest, because I think there's only so long that you can kind of mentally torture yourself for before you get to your breaking point. So yeah, that was a long one, guys. But maybe some people will be able to relate. I feel like people can relate to a lot of the stuff that I say. But I don't know, maybe you can't relate, because maybe you're like watching me talking and saying all this stuff, and you're like, yeah, why are you so stressed? Like, why have you been so stressed about that? Why did you get yourself into that position? And I did just get myself into that position. But I think this is just the curse, guys, of, I suppose, having the type of personality that I have and just wanting to succeed so badly in what I'm actually doing. You know, and it's funny because you look at other bodybuilders and you look at how they approach things. You look at some of the best bodybuilders in the world, right? And like, some of them are super relaxed in their off season, to the point that, like, some of them fucking barely even follow a meal plan every single day, and they just still make incredible progress. And it's like, fuck, you know, sometimes you just have to not overcomplicate everything for yourself. You know, sometimes you just have to go with what feels good and do what feels good and do what feels just natural. So that's what I'm going to try and do over the next couple of weeks. And it doesn't mean I'm going to take the piss, no, but I'll probably just make sure that I do allow myself to have a couple of more meals. I do allow myself to actually switch off and enjoy my holiday when I go and not think about bodybuilding. I'm still going to train over there, but I'm not going to be married to, you know, a 6 meal per day fucking plan. And taking that step back, I know for a fact, once I get back from Turkey and I've had an off-plan meal every single day over there, I'm not even going to want to fucking look at an off-plan meal for weeks. And I know that myself, because that's just the way I get, you know? So I need to swing the pendulum a little bit in the other direction so that I can dial it back in, you know? Oh, that was a fucking essay and a half for you guys. I got my coffee on deck. Hopefully it's going to be cool enough for me to drink now. Best invention ever here, these Nespresso travel mugs. So yeah, that wraps that up, guys. And at the end of the fucking day, right, I'm still going to make a lot of progress. And that's one very important thing to understand and realize. And that's what Kuba said to me on the phone yesterday. And he's like, look, man, you need to understand that for you, this actually isn't a step back. This is a step forwards. Because this is what you need to do right now with where you're at for you to make progress. And it is. Because if I'm not stressing as much, I know I'm probably going to sleep better, train more, not have fucking high blood pressure, and just be, you know, in a better position overall, right? And I know I'll still make progress, and I feel like I am making incredible progress. I'm the fucking biggest I've ever been by a mile. And I can really see it now lately. Like in the gym, I'm looking at myself, I'm like, it's coming now, you know? And here's the thing, guys, right? If I have, let's say, an off-plan meal every other week, for the next 16 weeks that I have left in my off season, right? Or maybe even if I have it every week. If I gain a little bit of extra body fat than I would if I didn't have any off-plan meals, right? It doesn't fucking matter. And would it be better for me to stay a little bit leaner? Yes. Would that be more optimal? Yes. But I'm gonna fucking pull the body fat off anyway. You know what I mean? And I know for me, I get lean super quick and super easily. So I'm in a position where right now with where I'm at, I don't give a fuck if I get a little bit softer and a little bit fatter. And I don't give a fuck if that means I have to push just a little bit harder and prep this time around. Obviously, ideally, I would like to stay as lean as possible and not be having any meals and not be doing this and not be doing that. But that's just not the phase I'm in right now, mentally. So that's where we're at, guys. Thank you for coming to this week's Dmac TED Talk. I hope you enjoyed. I'm now 38 minutes away from the gym, so that passed the time nicely. I'm going to record some clips on my phone for you whilst I'm in there. So you can see my arm day today. And I'll touch base with you soon. All right, guys, we are here at last. Well, I'm up the road anyway at the parking Aldi because there's no parking spots. But I did actually get stopped by a car crash on the way down. And thankfully, everybody was okay. But that added 20 minutes to my journey. And I'm fucking bursting for a piss now because I timed my coffee and I timed my mega pump to rock onto the gym 20 minutes earlier than I actually have been. So hopefully I have enough time to train arms before we shoot. And now I'm also going to, speaking of shooting, I'm also going to make sure no one sees me in Aldi car park. I'm also going to shoot up this Amino Swole, which is the engineered turbo swole, but they've rebranded, right? So this is the pre-gym formula. So this is meant to be a lot better for the pump than the turbocharged, which I have been pinning in my arms for the L-carnitine. So I'm going to stick 1/2 ml of this in each bicep now. I probably shouldn't record this, especially because there's an old fella beside me. But fuck it, you know, hopefully I don't get like taken off of YouTube for sensitive content or anything like that. So none of you rats report me, I should say. I'm going to stick 1/2 ml of this in. Oh, that burns and stings a little bit, so it does. I take the SLU this morning, guys, and I only took like 0.1 of a ml of it. And honestly, it did pinch a little bit. It's meant to sting, but it took me by surprise a little bit because Joe Gann told me it stings. And then I injected it and I was like, oh, this is grand. This doesn't sting at all. Next thing, 30 seconds later, boom, it starts stinging. So that was only 0.1, literally 0.1 in the insulin pin. So I can imagine what a full fucking mil was like. There we go. There are the bicep shots done. This is a lot more liquidy than the L-carnitine. So when the L-carnitine goes in, I get like twitching and fluttering in my biceps, and I get like a real hard tightness. Whereas that went in super smooth. Oh, I've got a little bit of blood here, which isn't ideal, but that went in really smooth. So I'm quite pleased with that, as it definitely doesn't feel as I don't want to say painful, but like as tight as the L-carnitine does. Of course, I wear a white tank top today, and then that bleeds, and it normally never bleeds. But anyway, we'll go in here, we'll get a sick, juicy arm pump, shoot some content for Conte, and of course, I'll show you what's popping and what we're at. So stay tuned, guys. Pulled up at the gym and the 2 boys are already stripped off posing here. Hell yeah. Love it. It's a real gym, proper bodybuilding gym. So we've just arrived. I'm gonna quickly hit an arm session. There's nobody here, isn't there? Supposed to be people like shooting content here already, aren't? There's supposed to be a few people here, but they must be late. So yeah, of course I'm the first here as always. But we'll take a look around. Hopefully I'll be able to match my session as closely as possible, because I'm meant to have a prime preacher curl. I believe they might have a strive preacher curl here, so I'm going to use that if they don't. But I've just got like line cuff laterals, single arm kind of tricep extension cross body, which is easy. And then I think I have, what's my other bicep exercise? I'm not entirely sure, but I'll bang that out very quickly, just so that I'm not in the way of anyone when they're recording. So yeah. All right, guys, so shooting has been wrapped up for Conte. 2 ads, 2 reels.
Only took him about
pictures.
7 hours.
Nah, it didn't take me that long at all. I only fucked up once or twice.
One take narrow.
Very unlike me, but yeah, there was a couple of stutters along the way, but we got there. We got there in the end. So stay tuned on the Conte Instagram for all the adverts coming your way, guys. Very nice gym here, Reese's Gym, Physique Club. Very nice vibe. I actually trained arms before I did all the content, which was handy because the content definitely took it out of me. And I don't know what I'd be able to fucking train after doing all of that. So I've already had my post-workout meal. I've one more meal to have. And I'm kind of like, do I hang around for the next 20, 30 minutes and just have it before I hit the road? Or do I hit the road and have it a little bit late? I'm undecided, but it's a good vibe here because obviously all the content crew are here. Big Joe is in the building as well. Joe Gann, he's 6 weeks out now at this stage. He's looking pretty shreddy. Even though I timed it pretty well with my training, everyone else is training now. So I'm just kind of standing around like a sore prick, just watching everyone else. So maybe I will head off and get back nice and early. All right, just wrapped up and I am tired. Hopefully you can hear me now. It's not too windy. So I'm parked in Aldi car park, which is very convenient because Chloe texted me to get some cans. So I'm gonna be able to just hop into Aldi, get the cans, put them in the car and just belt straight home. And I won't have to stop on the way back, which is ideal. I need to actually take this t-shirt off and put my tank top back on as it's fucking sweating today. It's currently 28 degrees, which is way too hot for the boy. I've already had a massive coffee on the way down, another one this morning, but I feel like the eyes are fucking falling out of my head here. So I'm gonna try and get another little bit of a boost into me of caffeine, get home, put the feet up, and chill out for the evening because, yeah, I'm pretty tired after that. Yes, my people, how are we doing? So we're 2 days post-shoot, and I just thought I would catch up with you all in the vlog and let you know how we're doing, how we're feeling, and I suppose wrap this video up here because after that 20-minute long TED Talk at the very beginning, you're probably sick of watching me at this stage if you're still actually here. So I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm not gonna lie, like physically, I'm starting to feel pretty fresh now again. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling decent. I was thinking there for a while, oh my God, am I ever gonna come up out of this hole? But I've definitely been feeling much better the last while. Sleep has improved. I'm not as battered in the gym in terms of like my overall endurance / energy levels. And even outside of the gym, I haven't been feeling like as fatigued, let's say. So overall productivity levels, energy levels throughout the day, etc., are all much better. So yeah, I'm kind of out of the hole that I was in and found myself in. I'm back to training now at full frequency. So we have a rest day today. Was in for legs yesterday. That was a great session. And then tomorrow we're back in for push-pull over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So really looking forward to that. And then hopefully we can maintain this over the next couple of weeks and not see a decline. Now, we have had a couple of changes to the setup since I actually checked in with Kuba. So we've upped food a little bit, just like 160 calories across all days. So my high day, my medium day, and my low day. We've bumped up the rice and potato portions just a little bit. And then we've removed the oats in my evening meal and added cream of rice. Okay, so just very small tweaks that we've made across the board there. May potentially run a full day of eating very soon, so I can show you guys that. What else have we changed? We've added in some Lantus alongside increasing that food. So 10 IUs of Lantus has gone in the morning. I'm hoping that will bring my fasted blood glucose down a little bit, as that is still a little bit higher than I would like it to see. But I do think that is related to, I don't want to say some of the issues I've been experiencing, but I suppose they are issues. Some of the pushback I've been getting from my body right now, right? So I've been trying to rack my head around why my blood pressure started to creep up. So about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago at this stage, my blood pressure readings started to creep up. They're actually still creeping up, so they're still getting slightly higher. This morning, they weren't great. They were like 150 over 60 or 70. So obviously I don't want them to be in that position for much longer. Now, next week, which is in 3 days' time, that's going to be the final cycle escalation that we're going to take, and then we're topped out there and we're just sitting there. So I'm starting to think that obviously it wasn't salt related because we pulled my salt back. I don't think it was stress related because I'm not stressed anymore. I don't think it was, what else? Yeah, we've added in some Cialis to try and bring the blood pressure down. It hasn't. So I don't think it was related to any of those things. I don't think it's high estrogen either. I think it could either be some water retention or it could be potentially high blood count, high hematocrit. Now that's something I've not experienced ever before in the past, but I think this time around, right, being post-show and coming up in body weight very quickly, but also escalating my cycle up very quickly, I think, and adding in a big bolus dose of GH, I think all of those factors combined are probably leading to that increase in blood pressure. It's probably like just too much all at once rather than let my body slowly acclimatize. Because I do believe the last time I ramped my cycle up and my test in particular to be this high, it was done so over a much longer time frame where my body weight was coming up much slower and over a longer period of time, let's say. Not like immediately at the start of a cycle where like body weight's coming up super quickly post show, and then I'm putting in a lot of drugs and they're escalating quite quickly in my system, and then I've got a big huge dose of GH in alongside that, which can hold a lot of water. So I think it's like the water from the drugs, the water from the GH, and the rapid gain in body weight all together, that is just causing that blood pressure to increase. So I do think it'll probably stabilize once I kind of acclimatize to this weight a little bit. I'm going to try and hold my weight here as much as I possibly can, or at least try and solidify, 109, 110-ish, and not have my body weight come up to like 115 very quickly, just so my body can just kind of like find equilibrium at this weight. Once we've made that last cycle escalation, I may potentially speak with Kuba tomorrow about this and see would it be worthwhile bringing my GH dose down just for a while, just to see does that make any difference, because everything we've tried so far does not seem to be working. Now, it's funny because this morning, like, my blood pressure was still high, but I feel better, okay? So I feel like my body is already starting to acclimatize, if that makes sense. Because when the blood pressure initially did start to creep up, I was feeling shit. I almost felt like in my body and in my head, etc., that the blood pressure, like that my body was under a little bit of pressure, like I kind of feel a little bit sluggish, feel a little bit whatever. Whereas now, even though it's still elevated, I feel great. I feel much better. So I think it is starting to stabilize a little bit. But obviously, guys, like I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that higher for longer. Doesn't mean I'm going to like drop dead and I'm going to have a heart attack. No, obviously not. But if you leave your blood pressure on the higher end for months on end, it does have the potential to cause some damage to your heart or to your kidneys or whatever. And obviously, that's not something I want to be doing. So again, ignorance is bliss in bodybuilding, guys. And this is why we keep an eye on things. Because if I wasn't testing my blood pressure, I'd just think I'm feeling like shit and I wouldn't know why, right? Or if I just didn't test my blood pressure at all, I could have not made any of the adjustments and the tweaks that I've been making to try and bring it down, and it could have gotten even higher, or I could just leave it sitting there for months and I would be causing some slight damage without even realizing. And this is where a lot of bodybuilders go wrong. And this is where I believe a lot of bodybuilders in the past have gone wrong as well. They just take all these drugs and do all these things and not keep an eye on their blood pressure. And then lo and behold, they retire and they've got like kidney issues or whatever, So you obviously don't want to be that guy. I got my echocardiogram done on prep. Everything checked out, all A-okay. I want to keep it that way, okay? I'm 5 years deep into bodybuilding now. I haven't had poor blood work ever really. I don't have any issues with my heart, my liver, my kidneys, none of that shit. But I need to make sure in the next 5 years that's the case as well. So just doing my due diligence to make sure that all of those things are kept on point. So what am I doing down in the kitchen, guys? I'm just about to prepare my rice and my potatoes for the day. I'm going to cook my third meal, and then I'm going to go out and I'm going to box off a big batch of steps because all my client work has been done for the day so far. And I'm going to come back, I'm going to edit this vlog, I'm going to get it up for tomorrow morning, and then I'm going to start brainstorming what I'm going to do for the next vlog. Because let me tell you, I'm not going to be just sitting ranting to the camera for 20 minutes. My rants, my stressors, everything else like that is all over, guys. I can assure you. So I'll try and take you through some actual bodybuilding stuff over the next week or two before I go home. We've got full day of eating that's going to be coming up for sure. I'm going to show you some of the changes to my training, or how my sessions are going since we made those changes to the rep ranges to my training. Then next weekend, I'm going to be going home. So I'm going to vlog everything that's happening when I'm at home. I'm going to be training with tons of clients, literally every single session that I've got booked in for when I'm at home. I'm training with different friends and clients every single one of those sessions. So I think I've got like 6 or 7 sessions where I'm training with different people. So that'll be super fun as well. Really looking forward to that. I'll try and get as much footage as I possibly can of all that sort of stuff. And hopefully some of it will be valuable for you guys watching on the YouTubes. So guys, thank you very much for watching. If you've made it this far, as always, make sure you like the video. Make sure you drop a comment down below. Make sure you use code DMAC10 if you're buying anything from Conte or Hardbody. Support your boy. And we'll catch you in the next episode of the day in the life / week in the life, stressful life of Darren McNamara. Signing out, guys. Catch you in the next one.